he voluntarily allowed the plane to descend and lose altitude about 1,000 meters per minute. It's not normal.
Our guest has over 30 years of aviation experience, a master U.S. Army aviator, commercial pilot, impeccable credentials as an aviation expert, also part of the group Aviation Safety Consultants, LLC in Pennsylvania. Let's welcome Keith Cianfrani to MidPoint. Keith, we thank you for joining us today.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
As a veteran pilot, hearing that someone in your profession may have taken a large jet, crashed it into a mountain and killed 149 people. What was your immediate reaction when you heard this?
Well, I've been following this mishap since its onset, and it's very disturbing that a professional pilot would do this and kill all these people. When you first look at the incident happening, you look at parts of an investigation that would normally take place, looking at the environmental factors, material failure, and of course human factors, which is mostly the case in aviation accidents. The aircraft are built very well today. This was a very sophisticated aircraft, a well-built aircraft. But for somebody to do this deliberately, it just opens up a lot of doors on airports for pilot screening and other ways that we could maybe prevent this from happening again.
Let's go ahead and open one of those doors right now. Lufthansa says they conduct yearly medical tests, but they do not conduct psychological exams. Are we now reaching the point where after this, every commercial airline pilot must take a psychological exam and must take it many times over?
Well, I'm not sure that that may be the direction that most companies are looking at. I know U.S. companies, maybe not all of them, but majority of them, do require psychological exam during the hiring process because they're looking for issues that may be of concern. Plus, they're also looking at the individual because they want a certain type of pilot representing their company. So they do that along with all the other screening that the FAA does. And, of course, they have to have a first-class medical certificate, which is actually taken twice a year.
Keith, in this case, it would appear that the pilot left the flight deck and could not get back in. He was locked out. There was no way to get in. As we understand it, in the United States, there is a standard rule that when a pilot leaves, a flight attendant then must go into the cockpit. Is that the case with all American airlines? And would you now say that that's something that needs to be done globally?
Yeah, I would say that's a good idea. And many U.S. companies have a policy where if a crew member, a pilot, leaves the cockpit, they also have flight attendants come in and sit in the cockpit until they come back, which may prevent things like this from happening again. Since 9/11, the rules went into place. We have better security, better doors on the aircraft. So you start one problem and then you create another one. We call that residual risk. And so now you have to look at, okay, how are we going to mitigate this problem from happening again as far as having a crew member locked out of the cockpit.
I want you to hear this. This is Carsten Spohr, the CEO at Lufthansa, in wake of all this, saying there is absolutely no need to have a knee-jerk reaction over procedures simply because of this incident. Here's that interview.
I don't see any need to change our procedures at this very point. I think it has been a single occasion, but as I mentioned before in German, we will get together with the various experts in the Lufthansa Group airlines, in the authorities, with our German government to see if our procedures can be refined.
1 minute left, though, Keith. Do you think that there will indeed now, because of this, be some changes?
Well, I would agree with that gentleman. You never want to do a knee-jerk reaction because you don't have all the facts in, and you have to wait till the investigation is complete and look at the big picture of how to mitigate and resolve some of these problems. And then at that point, you can come and look at it and okay, we need to go in this direction or that direction, and then try to fix what the problem may be for prevent this from happening again. So I would agree. Well, let's just wait until this thing is completely investigated, and then they'll make some recommendations on how to prevent it in the future.
Only got about 20 seconds left, though. Doesn't this show, though, how if someone did want to take a commercial jetliner and fly it into a mountain, it's almost too easy?
Well, there's risk with doing everything, and you're not going to eliminate every risk on every flight with every aircraft. You can reduce some to it's manageable, and but there's always something else that's going to come up that if people want to do something, they're going to try to do it.
Keith Cianfrani, we thank you so much for your expertise. I'll look forward to speaking again.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Former Taliban prisoner Bo Bergdahl could face life in prison. The man who made that prediction months ago joins us as we discuss that in foreign policy when MidPoint continues.